How's it going? Good. Taylor, can you allow me in? And me. I would. And George. Hey, no, not this one. Oh, that's thank you. Yes, it is. Remember, just stepping out of this. What's out of this thing? All right.
Yeah, I got that.
You might think
Oh, was that new? I didn't know. This happened.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Since we've got one around side done.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. You guys ready to find the
A lot of drive.
Okay. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to finally call our meeting to order. Maybe. This is the city council regular business meeting, Thursday, December 5th, 2024. It is 6:02 p.m. Kalen, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Cool. Councilmember Livingston. Councilmember Meineke.
Here.
And Mayor Phillips.
I'm here. We do have quorum, so we'll move on. Item number 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item 3 is approval of the agenda. Would anybody like to move any of the consent agenda items to the regular agenda? Hearing none, can I get an approval, motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
I got a motion by Brown. I'll give Meineke the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Item number 4, welcome to guests and public comment. Thank you all for being here tonight. We'll open up the dais at this point in time for people to address council for non-agenda items. Realize we can't take action on those tonight because they're not on the agenda, and that would be a violation of open meetings law. Don't want to do that. Also, if you'd like to comment on any item in the consent agenda, now would be the time. How many takers? Not yet.
Yeah, you.
You're up next.
Oh, I see there.
All right. So hearing none, we will move on. Item number 5, presentations. Jody Smith is here from Central Iowa Waterworks and to introduce the new executive director, Tammy Madsen. Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to address the council this evening. After about 7 years of working, we put together the 2080 28F document that was filed with the Secretary of State early April. We had our first board meeting in the latter part of April. There are 12 founding members, of which Norwalk is one. That means that there are 12 different votes, 12 different trustees. You are well represented by the mayor and George. So thank you for volunteering to and participating in the meeting since then. There are actually 13 trustees because the city of Des Moines Waterworks has an additional trustee because they have over 100,000 population. Again, we met the first time the end of April. We've accomplished a lot of low-hanging fruit, I would say, but a significant number of things since then. First was the board officers and the committee selections, et cetera. I was elected as chair, and David Jones from Ankeny is the vice chair, and Diane Munns from Des Moines Waterworks is the secretary. We selected an interim executive director by the name of Bill Smith. Bill's a retired attorney, has a lot of time, but more importantly, Bill had expertise in working with a startup utility on the electric transmission side several years ago, and so he had the background what we would need, and he helped us through a lot of things A lot of mundane things such as getting a employee identification number, opening bank accounts, joining the Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust. We selected interim legal counsel. We retained a bond counsel. We retained public finance management to help us with the finances. We had a desire to go outside the house for our accounting services, and through George's work on the finance committee, ended up with a contract with RSM and Gladry to provide those services for us. Adopted policies on public information requests, investments, purchasing, and the funding reserve. Whole host of insurance items needed to be taken care of, both on the property casualty side as well as employee benefits. So we had those things that were at the board level. Absent the board level, we actually had some tours, and many, you two in particular, went on those, and many of the trustees and alternates went on those. The Fleur plant, the McMullen plant, Saylorville plant owned by Des Moines Waterworks. AC Ward is the plant owned by West Des Moines Waterworks, and the city of Grimes and the city of Polk City both have smaller plants, but they're still members and are functioning with CIWW. We had a very constructive and busy November board meeting. We approved the 5-year average flow, which is a major driver of the budget. The budget was then up for consideration. The 2080-28F had a rough number of just under $70 million the budget would be. The first budget, and it ended up being $67.5 million. So it was good that we were able to get a little bit of grace there. We took the first steps to authorize the sale, transfer of debt from City of Grimes, West Des Moines Waterworks, and Des Moines Waterworks from state revolving loan funds. That was about $70 million of debt that was, again, was in the 2080-28F for that debt to be assumed by CIWW. There were a few last minute changes that was required when you get 4 or 5 attorneys. Sorry, Jim, get 4 or 5 attorneys in the room working on something, but they worked through it, and it's, in the long term, it's going to help CIWW. We formally accepted the assets that are coming from West Des Moines Waterworks, Polk City, and Grimes, and a few other smaller assets that are coming from the other entities. Again, that was all called for in the 2080. It took the attorneys a long time to put the legal descriptions together, just to do that. And then there was an action to approve the long-range plan, subject to, which is the main thing that's left on our to-do list for the next couple of months. And that was the engineering firm HDR was tasked with looking at a Des Moines Waterworks long-range plan, a West Des Moines Waterworks long-range plan, a Grimes long-range facility plan, and a Western Iowa facility study, which was done for Adel, Dallas Center, Urbandale, Van Meter, West Des Moines, I think I said Urbandale, and Waukee. So they took those 4 and some other information, looked at the growth that was forecast by the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and they presented their initial recommendations to the technical committee, and the technical committee spent a good amount of their summer months working through that. And they, the technical committee and HDR, recommending one of the 2 alternatives. It's important to know that the first thing that's going to have to be done is to hook Grimes up to the system. They're standalone right now, and they have their own water treatment capacity, as I've said. Their capacity exceeds what they need in Grimes right now, so that water could be used maybe in Johnston, maybe in Polk City, maybe with Xenia, or even Urbandale, parts of Urbandale. So we need to get them hooked up. We're in the process of adding 10 million gallons a day to capacity to Saylorville water treatment plant, and that'll take care of some of the needs. Then we need to look at something that we could have online as early as 2030, 2032, something like that, to take care of the next wave. And then even beyond that, we know, and it's a given, that there's going to be another necessary expansion at Saylorville, probably a brand new plant, of 50 million gallons a day. So the difference is there were two alternatives they're looking at. One was to take the McMullen plant, which is the lime softening plant, and add an additional 10 million gallons a day to it. The second alternative was to use water that had been found and sourced out by Van Meter, and there would be a reverse osmosis RO plant built out there under that scenario. The second scenario was about $50 million higher, but that was the preferred alternative by both HDR and the Tech Committee, primarily driven by the rationale that the RO plant would take care of any nitrates, and the lime softening plant would not have that capability. And we know that there's going to be continuing to be a nitrate problem down the Raccoon River and even in the source water that comes from the shallow wells nearby. So process there is that the HDR folks gave us in a workshop setting, an hour worth of background. We're going to digest that, have more dialogue at the December and at least at the January meeting. And then the board will have to either affirm the recommendation or go a different direction. So that's what's been on our plate. That's what's on our plate for the next couple of meetings. But that's all superfluous because I'm not here to talk anymore about what we've done. I'm here to introduce the new executive director. A little bit of background. The board went out for a nationwide search. The result of that search, there was about 45 applicants. Board ended up interviewing 5. Tammy Madsen was the unanimous choice by the trustees that were present. Tammy comes to us from down south and up north. She has a BA and an MBA from University of Texas at Tyler and a Master of Environmental Science and Hydrology from the University of Oklahoma. But so that's the south part. The north part was that she has been for a number of years the executive director for Western Area Water Supply Authority, I think that's right, Wausau, in North Dakota, Western North Dakota. And so I smiled when she wanted to get down to Iowa early because it was much more temperate down here than in North Dakota. So anyway, Tammy came to us and started on November 18th. She had 9 meetings that week, so we put her to the gauntlet, and I'm going around now introducing her to the member entities. And Tammy, if you want to say a few words, please do.
So warm.
Mayor and council, thank you for having me. As he said, I'm Tammy Madsen, and the news reported I'm from Oklahoma. I did not come from Oklahoma. I did come from North Dakota. It is currently -19 there, so I'm very happy to be here. And the story is, yes, my family moved ahead of me because it's very difficult to move when the roads are already frozen and all of that. So they were here ahead of me probably about a month, so they got to enjoy everything you guys had to offer before I got here. But regardless, I am so happy to be here. My project was very similar to what you all are doing here. And when I left it, it had already been in operation for 10 years. So we had already worked through all of the kinks of getting all the member entities working together, combining all the debt, getting all the systems connected with transmission mains, expansions, those kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to what you all are doing here and what we can all do together to get this system operating and functioning the way you have all envisioned it. So thank you so much for choosing me, even though I don't think you guys were at the interviews, but by default, thank you for choosing me because I'm very excited to be part of this project.
Questions?
Welcome. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah. And don't feel like you have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Although it is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. All right. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. Tonight we have expenditures, tax abatements, have the November 21st, 2024 minutes of the regular city council meeting. We have a resolution authorizing the chief of police to execute a 28E agreement with the Iowa Alcoholic Beverage Division for compliance checks on tobacco, alternative nicotine, and vapor product vendors. A resolution approving an agreement with the shredder for participation in the 2025 residential paper shredding program. A resolution approving the updated contracts for the Norwalk Rehabilitation Assistance Program project for 622 Marie Avenue. A resolution appointing the City of Norwalk representation to the Des Moines Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. A resolution approving additional purchase of furniture from JG's Old Furniture for the City Hall remodel. A resolution to approve partial payment number 8, which is the final change order number 2, change order number 3, and change order number 4 to Thorpe Contracting LLC for the Wright Road Water Main Replacement Project. A resolution to approve pay estimate number 4 to GTG Construction for the City Hall renovation project. A resolution setting the schedule and location of Norwalk City Hall Council meetings for 2025. Resolution naming, officially naming publications for the City of Norwalk calendar year 2025. Resolution officially naming depositories for the City of Norwalk for calendar year 2025. And a resolution to approve pay estimates for the Norwalk Fieldhouse project. And there's 2 of those that are listed there. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Baker, seconded by Brown. Kalen, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Minneke,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7, old new business for consideration, discussion, and possible action. Item A is a public hearing regarding the North River Interceptor Extension Phase 1 project. So we'll open up the public hearing at 6:17 p.m. So we've been looking at constructing the North River Interceptor for quite some time now. This is a really big step for Norwalk with driving industrial and commercial development. This project extends sanitary sewer access west of Highway 28 and feeds the Dunn Industrial Park as well as other light industrial areas to the west. Tony, I'll let you explain that one.
Okay, Mayor, Council, on Tuesday, we received bids for the North River Interceptor Extension Phase 1 project. Again, as the mayor indicated, we've been working on this project for a number of years. Took quite a while based on, timing with working with the NRCS to get easement across that property. We still don't have, we still haven't finalized that process with the NRCS. We've come a long way through the environmental assessment and a finding of no significant impact. We've still got some work to do. But we needed to move forward with this project because some funds that are dedicated to the project from Warren County that we would potentially lose at the end of the year if it's not under contract. So we put this project together as a whole in one contract. That was the kind of the original plan. We've got some timing in the contract documents for the contractor where they can't start in that NRCS easement until about July timeframe, which is when we anticipate being able to give our contractor full notice to proceed. So again, it's been a couple of years since we originally put together a construction cost estimate. A lot of things have changed. Material costs have gone up. This project has to meet the WRA's requirements as well. So that really restricted us in terms of what we could do, types of materials we had to use, meeting a lot of their requirements at the beginning of the project and throughout the project. They have special requirements for a number of things that increase the cost of the project. So anyway, we finished the design of the project, took bids on Tuesday. We did get a reasonable amount of interest on this project. We had 5 bidders, but because of the difficulty of this project, it's a deep, large sewer project. Contractors are going to have to use large equipment and experience in deep sewer construction, dealing with groundwater and all those things. And so, unfortunately, this type of project, we don't get a lot of interest from our local contractors. So out of 5 contractors that bid this project, 3 of them were from Minnesota, 1 from South Dakota, and we only had 1 from Iowa. So all that said, in short, we got 5 bids for the project. Our final estimate of the project was about $9 million, a little over $9 million. I published $9 million. The low bid came in significantly over that at $999,000 and some odd dollars. Again, we've reviewed the bids. There's some things I do want to go back to the WRA and talk to them about because we had some significant costs on their property associated with a special structure that we had to build at the beginning of the project, as well as a flow meter structure and some things that amounted to a significant amount of money. And so, but all in all, our recommendation is still to award contract to the low bidder, which was Northern Lines Contracting Incorporated, based on their bid of, again, $9,999,564.50. We did ask them to, for some qualification submittals. We've done some work in other communities with them, not a lot here. Again, that they're a Minnesota contractor, but a large contractor. They can bond for $40 to $50 million. So used to doing these large pipeline type projects. Even though I don't have experience with them, we're confident, with our bonding requirements and everything that they can proceed through the project and complete it. So our recommendation to the council is to award contract. If we can afford the project. I don't think the numbers are going to get any better. Again, we have some money that we may lose if we're not under contract by the end of the year. So it's an important project for the annexation area that we're looking, everything we're doing down on the Dunn property with what I call our certified site. We didn't finish that process, but there's a trunk sewer also that extends north off this large 60-inch sewer that's necessary to serve the development in that area, as well as the rest of that Dunn property. And then, of course, this sewer is vital for our annexation area and Project West and a service area where we anticipate Norwalk growing in the future. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has.
On our little map, we're only talking about the red area here. The map that was in the.
It's, I've got it shown on the screen.
Oh, okay.
There's not an aerial overlay, but I tried to zoom it down so you could see where Wright Road is up
Okay,
above,
yeah.
kind of.
All right, I got it. Yep.
Only for just the newbie, relatively newbie, I keep using that for one more year, or my year's about up, so I'll have to give up my newbie status, but in January, not now. But there's a sewer pipe that's already been put through there, and looking at all the plan, and I don't know how to read it, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah.
There was a discussion about the WRA, they got their own pipe through there, we're gonna put a pipe by it, but do they ever connect?
No, they don't.
Okay.
So that pipe, and trying to think how to explain this quickly. So the main sewer system through the Des Moines area and West Des Moines is kind of reached its capacity in terms of wet weather conditions. There's problems with that. So there's a large project that involves a very large pump station, and that pipe you're talking about is a force main. It comes from West Des Moines area all the way up the 63rd Street corridor, all the way south. When it gets down to this area, we're paralleling it. So it's actually a force main that's bringing water from the West Des Moines area south, basically routing it around to the north, to the existing North River interceptor sewer. So what used to be our wastewater treatment facility south of town is now a large stormwater equalization basin. So that's where that force main discharges into there and then slowly releases into the gravity North River sewer downstream. So that's a WRA facility. It's a force main. It's actually carrying flow in the same direction we need it to, but it's a pipe it's a steel 72-inch line. Again, it's the force main discharge from this large pump station, and it's something that we can't connect to. It's not available for gravity service or service, in any of that area. So
The sewer we put in on this project, stuff that goes in it, where does it go?
it actually goes to the same place. So it eventually, so of course we don't have our own wastewater treatment plant. Pardon?
There's another pipe we're gonna hook into.
Yes, yeah. So the same place where this stormwater equalization pond is south of town, that discharges into what the WRA calls their North River interceptor sewer. So this is actually, we're connecting to that same sewer and extending further west. Now the WRA anticipates sometime in the future that sewer, and that might be 40 to 50 years down the road, that sewer will potentially need to be paralleled with a relief sewer, because again, we're taking flow from the Des Moines metro area as well as this southwestern service area, for the.
Or I'll need another pipe.
That'll be another pipe parallel to that, downstream to handle. So one of our main outfalls from Norwalk also drains into that as well. The original town of Norwalk drains to the south to our wastewater treatment facility. The Lakewood area, everything north, drains into the Middle Creek trunk sewer. So we're served by two primary large sewers, WRA sewers that convey sewerage to the wastewater treatment plant. The Middle Creek trunk sewer, kind of the north half of the city. And then from our ridge in the middle of the city, south, the North River interceptor sewer.
Took me a while to bring this up, but this is the full
There you
WRA system here. And the pipe that we're talking about is like right along there. So we ultimately connect into the pipe that runs along this. So it all flows to the same treatment facility. Do I have that roughly correct, Tony?
Yes, there's a map, I haven't pulled it up here, but there's an aerial drawing, that shows the entire service area for the sewer bill that I know I've sent to you, but I could probably.
It's not in these packet
No,
materials.
it's not in these
I'll
packets.
see if I can pull it up as we go through the next couple
Right.
items. You guys are all gonna know more about sewers than you care to, I'm sure, over the next few months.
Oh, yeah. Kalen, have we received any oral or written comments on this? Do we have any other public comment on this item? Either in the room or online? Hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:28 PM. Item 7B is a resolution approving plan specification, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the North River Interceptor Extension Phase 1 project. So we just had a public hearing for this project. This is the first of three resolutions needed to get the project going and launched. Council passed a resolution that approved the preliminary plan specs and form of contract and estimate for the remodel, or not remodel, for the construction. This resolution is the final approval of all of those. So Tony, what do you got anything else on that?
Nothing else?
Hey, Gene, I understand bids came in higher than our estimates. What's our plan for financing the project? And will we need to delay other projects to focus funds in this direction?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. Sorry I can't be with you. I'm a bit under the weather. We have about $5.9 million right now. We borrowed some money in 2022. We do have some engineering and geotechnical cost and easements, and we purchased the land from Dunn, which leaves us with about 4.5 million right now and a shortfall of 5.6. So I think the goal is this is a development driven type project, and we will get the development in to help offset the costs. In the meantime, I think what we need to do is probably just put off some projects in 26 and 27 until that development agreement, if it happens, is finalized.
Anybody have questions on the plan? Okay, good. Any other discussion or comments from council? Or public comment?
Yeah, one couple other things I would add, Mayor, so the city attorney and I will be working on looking at options for creating a benefited sewer district in this area too. So as we get connections to, we'll start to recover some of the costs that way. Another point I want to make is this sewer, when working with the WRA, it's necessary for the sewer to have the capacity to serve a very large area, which is about 15,000 acres. And so most likely, so this covers, all of our annexation area, service of all of our annexation area, a lot of area for Norwalk, but most likely some of that service area is going to be occupied by other communities, West Des Moines and possibly some in Cumming. They're going to have to buy into the sewer purchase capacity, if you will, within that sewer. So we want to reserve, of course, enough capacity for everything that the city is interested in, but the sewer can serve service beyond that. And so, so most likely as that interest, and there's a driver, say in West Des Moines for the sewer to be extended, and it will need to be extended quite a ways along the North River and along Badger Creek in the future. But they'll have to purchase capacity in the sewer. So over time, we anticipate, in a relatively short time, this might be, 5 to 10 years out, but not 40 to 50 years out. We anticipate recovering a large portion of that cost of this sewer and future extensions down the road. So I just wanted to make it clear that this is a sewer that's going to serve a very large area and most likely service multiple communities in the future. And that's why it has to meet the WRA's requirements, because everything needs to be transferable to the WRA, including the easements, and it's in our interest that they take over operation and maintenance of the sewer in the future.
And as soon as one of those other communities comes on, then it becomes the WRA pipe. The WRA then takes over the pipe.
Correct. And yeah, and again, we're trying to put in place, make sure that we have, we want to have control of the sewer and and the ability to work directly with those communities to purchase the capacity from us. But that's correct, Mayor.
All right. Anything else, Tony?
That's it.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so I got a motion by Baker, second by Meineke. Any further discussion? Kaylin, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Meineke,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Item 7C is resolution awarding contract for the North River Interceptor Extension Phase 1 project. This is the second of the 3 resolutions needed to start the project. This resolution awards the contract to Northern Lines Contracting of Hanover, Minnesota for $9,999,564.50. Tony, you got anything to add?
Nothing else, Mayor.
All right, any discussion or questions from council or public comment? 50 cents. I know. All right, can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Meineke, seconded by Baker. Any further discussion? Kaylin, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Meineke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7D is resolution approving contract and bond for the North River Interceptor Extension Phase 1 project. So this is the third and final resolution needed to start the project. This resolution approves the contract and indicates how the city is going to pay Northern Lines Contracting for their work. Tony, anything to ask?
Nothing else.
Any questions or comments, question or discussion from council or comments from public? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brown, seconded by Baker. Any further discussion? Kaylin, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Meineke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. That's exciting to get this thing started.
It is, yeah, and I just want to add to the council, we're gonna do everything we can to control the costs, in terms of engineering economy measures, during construction, everything. There's some things, again, we want to look at, so we're gonna do our best to keep the cost, in this range or reduce the cost. The interesting thing is the actual pipe price is very reasonable, and it's without getting into the details of how contractors sometimes weight their bids. So even though the project is a little over budget by 10 or 11%, it could be, we could say it's in our interest to actually extend this project even further because the line items, for extending it, say another 1,000 feet or something, if it made sense. And we'll look at that, during the course of the project, but that's a very favorable cost per foot,
Got everybody there.
to extend the project. Yeah. So
Everything go.
We will definitely want to keep that in mind.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've already talked to the contractor about that and they're okay with that. By our contract documents, we can add 25% to that line item, and that's a long ways.
Okay.
But so on a project that's a little over budget, there's some reasons why we might want to consider even more.
How long is the construction? Just time frame.
About a year and a half. Yeah, well, just to clarify, our completion date is spring of 2026.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Item 70. The public hearing regarding the establishment of the Northeast Service Area Benefited Sewer District and connection fee schedule. So we'll open up the public hearing at 6:36 PM. Norwalk has built a pumping station along 80th and is now going to establish a sewer district to help pay for that pumping station. Project's opening up with 300 acres for development with sewer now available. The total estimated cost is $2 million with the fees proposed at $6,500 per acre, followed by an annual increase of $100 per acre. I should add that within a portion of this sewer district is a development by Hubble. And we have an agreement with Hubble regarding the lift station. Staff is working with Hubble to reconcile the benefited sewer district and the development agreement. You may recall that our initial plans were for a smaller lift station, but we moved it to the east a little bit and revised our approach to serve a larger area. So we're thinking to think more long-term. Tony, got anything?
Well said, Mayor. Yeah, I'll just add that again, we talked about the original concept with that development agreement with Hubble. That lift station was going to serve about 60 acres of their development. And so as we looked at it in the service area, that back then that didn't make a lot of sense to us. When we looked at just moving at a short distance to the east, all of a sudden we can open this up and it's a little bit bigger lift station, more cost, but we could open the service area up to about 300, actually about the total acres is about 307 acres. So a little over 300 acres. So significant increase in service area to serve everything, a large area west of 80th. So this district is going to be a little bit more costly in terms of cost per acre than some of our other sanitary sewer districts. And that's because of the cost. We've got kind of, most of our other districts are just gravity sewer conveyance, large major trunk sewers to serve areas. This project, unfortunately, we don't have a place to, we're not connecting to a sewer downstream. We've got to use a lift station. So the cost of that lift station and the trunk sewers in here, it kind of doubles up the cost in a way. So little bit more costly. But again, a large service area. So that does district fees for this benefit of sewer district will start at about $6,500 an acre.
All right. Kaylin, have we received any oral or written comments?
No.
All right. Do we have any public comment on this item? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:39 PM. Item 7F is a resolution approving first consideration of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Norwalk, Iowa by adding and enacting thereto a new section to Chapter 104 to establish a Northeast Service Area Benefited Sewer District and to adopt the connection fees therein. So we just had a public hearing about this item, about this ordinance. Tony, do you have anything to add?
Again, the connection fees are established based on the major lift station and trunk sewer facilities that the city is paying for and constructing. All the other minor sewers to serve that, if this area developed will be the responsibility of developers. So Luke, I think today I'd sent you another map just like this that I was going to have you pull up just to show where those improvements are. It's the same.
You sent it today?
Yes.
Tony, what's the blue water dotted lines? What does that signify?
Those are the, and it kind of stretches around funny, but that's the corporate limits of the city.
Oh, okay.
Should have been able to connect there. That's the overall benefit sewer district map.
This is not the one.
So that's, no, it was before that, but that's a nice map too. So you could, but I've added that on there. So you can see all the sewer and water and stormwater districts that we've established in the city. But that was for our overall reference of all of our districts.
I'll find the other ones.
Okay, and then just to be clear for me, nobody has to pay anything until developed and to hook on, right?
Correct, yes. Yeah, so the fees are, it's based on, the fees for all these costs for these major facilities were spread over the entire gross area of that it serves, which is a little over 300 acres. So at the final plat stage, the developers would have to pay based on their area as well. So if we have a plat that's 50 acres, at that final plat stage, when their public improvements are approved and we approve the final plat, that's when those fees are due, and they're based on the gross area. So the intent is to work to, the idea is to attempt to recover 100% of the cost of these facilities over time. Now, realistically, if over time we recover 80%, somewhere in that range, we're doing good. But that's just so it's established. The fees are established, spread over the gross area, and the fees that we collect are based on the gross area of every development. So 100% of the area within this service area is developed. Theoretically, if all the improvements were done today and we approved all those final plats today, we would collect those same dollars. If our time value of money that we have in our fees as they escalate is the same as what it is in reality, then we would collect 100%. But we try to keep those escalation in those fees a lot more reasonable. In this district, for example, I think it's escalating at less than 2% a year. So that's something that we have the ability to look at annually if the city wants to adjust those fees accordingly.
Discussion, questions, comments from council or public comment?
And that's the one, yeah. So you can see there's a very small square there where our lift station is, the trunk sewer and trunk sewers and force mains. So that highlights the improvements that are necessary to service, the major improvements that are necessary for developers to connect to and service all of this area.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve? Okay, thank you. Okay, motion by Baker to approve resolution is presented, seconded by Meineke. Any further discussion? Kalen, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Meineke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7G is resolution accepting infrastructure and approving the final plat of Hughes Century Crossing Plat 9. So plat nine is where the Nutrisport smoothie place is going to be located, down the far east end of Chatham. Tony, how does everything look with the infrastructure there?
We've completed our final walkthrough for the public infrastructure, developed a punch list. Most of those items have been completed. There's just a few minor items left. I provided a letter to the city explaining all that and recommending approval of final plat or approval of public infrastructure and release of the final plat. So just a few minor items left that we will follow up and make sure they're completed.
Good. Discussion, comments, questions from council? Public comment? Can I get a motion to approve? Okay, thank you. Motion to approve the resolution as presented by Baker, seconded by Meineke. Any further discussion? Kayla, would you call roll?
Councilmember Meineke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yeah.
Brown,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7H is resolution approving site plan amendment for Michael Foods. Sounds like Michael Foods wants to expand their office area by about 2,000 square feet, I think.
Correct.
What do you got on this one, Luke?
Yeah, it's a 2,000 square foot training area. It's not directly adjacent to the office. If you scroll down in there, you can see there's I think on page 5, there's a red highlighted area. It's kind of on the west end of the building. It's just a small room essentially, well, small for Michael Foods. 2,000 square foot room that sticks off there at the front, meets all of our setback requirements. It's good to go from community development perspective. P and Z did consider it at their last meeting and recommended approval.
All right, discussion, questions, comments from council.
Motion. Second.
All right, motion by Minneke, seconded by Baker to approve the resolution as presented. Any further discussion or public comment? Halen, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7I, the resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with the Warren County Attorney for flock safety cameras. So flock cameras are a type of automated license plate recognition camera that helps law enforcement, communities, and neighborhoods fight crime. Cameras capture just the license plate, no speed, and vehicle characteristics, and send real-time alerts. These alerts can allow the Norwalk Police Department to improve crime response, like for stolen vehicles, wanted suspects, and vehicles associated with missing persons, just to name a few of those things. The MOU is an agreement with the Warren County Attorney to define the partnership so Norwalk can be on the Warren County network of cameras. City manager and I would like to make an additional comment here that the flock system is a great way for Norwalk to further our goal of being a safe city. However, this is at an added cost and added service at an additional cost. This goes directly against what House File 718 does and is counter to what the state legislator is trying to accomplish, which is smaller government. Chief, you got anything?
Yes, the MOU gives us the ability to participate in the system. The MOU says that the county attorney is going to pay about 75% of the cost of the system for the first 2 years. And just some quick examples of what it has done, what these types of systems have done for local agencies is Indianola found a dementia patient who traveled from Missouri. Missouri Police Department in Missouri put the tag number of the car into a national database. It pinged on the camera in Indianola. Indianola police were able to drive to the area and find the man. He had no idea where he was. Got him safely returned to Missouri. I talked to Polk City chief today. Tiny Polk City has 5 cameras. And I asked him what kind of benefit they've gotten out of it. And he said, well, I guess the best thing I could tell you is we responded to some calls where people were threatening suicide. And we put their information into the system and the cameras flagged them and we went and saved them before they killed themselves. That happened twice in Polk City. If you saw on Facebook last night, a lady a young teenager was coming into town on Highway 28 coming south and got sideswiped in a hit and run. Interestingly enough, if our flock system that I'm asking you to approve was in place, the license plate of the victim and the suspect would have been captured and we'd be able to track down the suspect. As of right now, we'll probably never figure out who it was. So that's the kind of thing that the camera systems will do. Block has a requirement that an agency must have 4 cameras to be able to participate outside of their own program. So if we only had 1 camera, we could use it, but we would only be able to see the data from that 1 camera. We have 4. In theory, we can see the data from the entire country. Anybody that has a flock camera system can give us the authority to see their data. So that's why it's important to have 4 cameras and share with the entire county. And it will also give us the ability to share with other Westcom agencies. We're all on the same radio frequency. When the hits come in, our officers hear the Westcom agencies talking about the hits that they get. It's just a great system to be able to coordinate law enforcement all over the metro.
Questions, discussion, comments from council?
You are proposing 4 cameras, right?
Yes, sir.
Are there
Any downsides to it
$12,000.
besides the cost? Sorry.
Besides cost, no, I think it's just upside.
The downside for some people is they don't feel like they should be tracked, where they go. We don't keep the data. If we don't look for the data or ask for the data, we don't ever see it. Block keeps it and then deletes it.
Yeah, I think they deleted after 30 days.
They delete it after 30 days, but if we ask for the data, for instance, looking for the hit and run suspect, we ask for that data, they give it to us, and then we keep it for as long as we need it, then we delete. As an example, if we had flock cameras when we had both of our murders in the last couple of years, we would have researched the system to capture the license plates of the cars coming in and out of town at the times of the murders. The Shendelman murder on Norwalk Drive, we spent a significant amount of time proving where a suspect was not. If we had had the cameras, that job would have been much more simple because we would have known every car potentially that came into town. Or had a better idea of the cars that came into town, and we could eliminate the suspect much quicker. To be able to do it, we were walking around Des Moines asking for video from various businesses to prove that a person was there and not here. It took several days and lots of hours to do that. The system could have made it a lot simpler.
Other questions? Any public comment? Can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Minneke, seconded by Baker. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Kalen, would you call a roll?
Member Brown,
Yes.
Minneke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7J is a resolution approving the chief of police to enter into an agreement with Flock Safety. So this resolution is going to allow the chief to sign an agreement with Flock for the cameras we're going to be deploying for Norwalk. The cost for the first year is going to be covered under the current budget by not upgrading our leather gear. Second year cost of $3,000 will need to be covered by next year's budget. Before proceeding with the third year's cost, it's going to come back to council for approval. Okay, so you guys get another chance to approve or deny the 12,000 going forward. Got it. Chief, anything to add?
No, sir. The cameras, like I said before, two of them will be actually in the city, or three will be in the city, and one will be outside the city. When a car gets viewed and a hit is produced, it's a 20-second delay from 20 to 30-second delay from when the camera sees it to when the officers are notified. So it's beneficial to have them outside jurisdiction, cars coming in. So we're not tempted to chase them out. We can sit and wait for them to get to us.
Do we have an agreement with like Des Moines or wherever their jurisdiction is that it's located? How do they handle that?
We don't have one yet. Des Moines does not have Flock. They have a different camera system. West Des Moines, as an example, has 100 or more Flock cameras. And once we're a Flock customer, I can ask West Des Moines to give us access, and then we'll see their hits. The plan is once all four law enforcement agencies in the Warren County are Flock customers, we'll give each other access. So we'll be able to see everything that comes through in Warren County, but it's individual by department. It's just a matter of us asking.
Pretty much. Right. Any other questions, comments, discussion, council or public comments?
Motion.
Okay, motion by Baker, seconded by Minneke to approve the resolution as presented. Any further discussion? Kalen, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Minneke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7K is a resolution approving an amended development agreement with Huseman Construction LLC. I am sorry, I should have pushed this to the top of the list instead of making you wait for an hour to get this done. My apologies. I'm sure you've enjoyed all the
about
discussion.
sewers, right?
Yeah.
My element. I was gonna say, I can be here.
So our current agreement has both lots combined for the purposes of a minimum assessment. This change splits the minimum assessments into two lots, one for the hotel and one for the outlot. Holly, is that right?
Yep, so when they purchased the ground, it was just one piece of,
Yeah.
of land, and then now that they're two legally separated parts, the county assessor requests that we split those minimum assessments so she can assign them.
Questions or comments from council? Or public comment? Can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Okay.
Trying going.
Motion by Minneke, seconded by Baker. Any further discussion? Phelan, would you call the roll?
Member Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7L is a second reading of an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Norwalk, Iowa to address building permit expiration and refunds. So these changes are being presented due to the removal of the residential tax abatement. Luke, anything to add?
Nothing new.
All right, any discussion, questions, comments from council or any public comment?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion by Baker to approve second reading, seconded by Minneke. Kalen, would you call roll?
Councilmember Brown.
Yeah.
Minneke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7M. It's a second reading of an ordinance amending chapter 177 rates and fees of the Norwalk Municipal Code, providing for the additional fees for the Norwalk Fieldhouse. So these changes are to add a category for Norwalk schools to include no overall rental fee, but there will be costs for staff members and there will be a charge for that. This is similar to what the school district has done for the city for many years when we've used their facilities. There's a couple points we would like to express for council consideration. First, we need to keep in mind that the City State Bank Fieldhouse was built with an emphasis on economic development. Hope this fee reduction doesn't edge out the use of our facility for tournaments where we bring new people to our community to support local business. Also wanted to note that this topic came up at the city school work group meeting where school officials that were present expressed there is no expectation of fee waivers or reductions. Do you have any additional information on that?
No, that explains it well.
All right, so they expressed an understanding that we have a facility to operate, and our goal is to self-sustain the operations without any tax subsidy. So we love supporting the school, certainly recognize all that they've done for us through their use of their facilities for the past few decades or so or more. We just need to be aware of unintended consequences. So Robin, do you got anything to add?
I actually do have one thing there. One of the key differences between the city and the school also in terms of charging for services, I do believe the school is actually restricted from profiting or charging additional than what their costs are, where for us, we have a little bit more latitude on our ability to charge fees. They're nervous being so quiet waiting on it.
Speaking to Robin, the school athletic and activities department will have to approve the rentals.
Okay,
Yeah, but basically what we were talking about on that is Rob and I had talked earlier this week about, I kind of wanted in this ordinance a definition of what they meant by school affiliated, because school affiliated could be pretty broad.
oh,
You know, it could be, a student who plays on the basketball team with their basketball, so they want to narrow it down. So I think Robin last night took a sheet to her park board to get some sort of definition. And I was right immediately for the meeting. We saw that you know, she kind of wanted a definition that would be an event that is approved by, just read the school board or activities director, so we would act, if it passes this reading on third reading, you can expect a definition like that to come in.
Okay.
Makes sense.
For
I think the school has
definition will be-
defined that themselves, I mean, for their own purposes. School.
Say that
I
again.
remember, the school defined what a school purpose is, just for their own facilities, because you could have a student want to come in.
Yeah, there'll be a gate then, which is good.
Probably actually.
Yeah, they probably already got it.
Yeah. Before
We could
before our
incorporate
ordinance
that.
purpose.
We could
Yeah.
incorporate
Yeah. Okay.
And Mayor, Robin also wanted me to mention that our intent is to evaluate in 1 year.
Okay. Awesome. Any other discussion or comments from council? Or public comment? If I get a motion to approve the second reading,
Motion.
Second.
motion by Baker, seconded by Minneke. Kalen, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Minneke,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 7N is final reading of an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the Norwalk urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa. This is for Dunn Industrial. So this ordinance creates a TIF district for the Dunn Industrial Condominiums project south of Delaware Street, 1050 Madison Street, and allows the city to capture the taxes from non-protected levies to provide economic development incentives. Gene, no, just Holly, you got anything to add?
No.
All right, any discussion or comments from council or public comment?
1060.
Might have had that. That might have been my typo. I don't know.
So make sure you're not
It's-
my neighbor all the tip bad.
The condominiums project, so
Yeah, neighbor does something, so I.
Yeah.
For separate development agreement.
we'll make sure it's that, we'll make sure it's right. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the final reading?
Motion.
Second.
Got
I
it.
thought you were shy.
It's kind of quiet.
Okay, so motion by Brown finally got a motion in.
I think it was the mustache.
Baker got the second, yeah,
Mustache did get the motion.
yes. Okay.
Mustache entered.
Caitlin, would you call roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Minneke.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8, future agenda items. So the purpose of this is for council to give direction to staff by way of motion to have items placed on future agendas. It's not for the discussion of the merits of the subject matter, just to get it on the agenda so that we can discuss the merits of the subject matter. Anybody have anything for tonight?
I do not.
Okay, so hearing none, we'll go to item 9, council inquiry staff updates. Luke.
A couple things. First, in terms of address, they use legal description in these anyway. I'm going through there to see if it's the right address, but legal descriptions are the critical part. Just to give you a little bit more comfort that if there was a misstatement there. Number 2, I have heard that sometimes boards or city councils like this will adjust the temperature in council chambers to make a meeting go fast or slow. That was not the intent tonight. For whatever reason, it hadn't activated. So I went over and basically turned it on.
Warm now, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
The real items, Westcom, we had our first budget meeting with them. Westcom is a pretty significant expense each year. It's getting close to about $500,000 a year for those dispatch services. Very preliminary numbers show that our increase will be around 6%. Although don't think that that's directly because the budget for Westcom is going up 6%, because Norwalk as a percentage of the whole, our population is growing faster as a percentage of the group, faster than others. So even though our percent might go up by 6%, that doesn't mean all the rest or the entire budget is going up by 6%. That's just preliminary at this point. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Jason. All right, thanks. Caitlin.
No.
All right, Robin.
Santa will be there. Tree lighting ceremony is tomorrow night at the City State Bank Norwalk Fieldhouse at 6 p.m. Santa will be there.
Oh. Is Santa gonna come in on a fire truck? Awesome. Awesome. And then Santa, well, I'll leave that for you. All right. Jean.
Santa already hit the library for our holidays event. Scribbles, our mascot, invited him and Bluey and Spot the dog. We had about 460 residents. It was a very good time. Santa noticed that the library is a little small, so I just wanted to share that Santa noticed.
Okay. Sit on
And
Santa's lap and ask for a bigger library.
sure did. And so I'm hoping I've been really good this year, just saying. So yeah, we're very grateful for that opportunity. And there are still some tags on the holiday giving tree. If anyone has not done some of their gifts for the year, you can come in and pick one of the tags off the tree and return the gifts to the Ministerial Association at the church and help out some Norwalk residents.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks. Holly.
The field house grand opening was a great event a couple of weeks ago. Robin's team did awesome setting everything up and all that cool activities.
Sure.
Lots of people came out, all of our developer friends were there and everybody involved in the project and people were very impressed with the facility. So that was great. Our Southwest Development Corridor continues to progress and we have, I would say at least once a week, we get additional RFPs from the state needing 40 or more acres for large light industrial type projects or tech or data type projects. So we're still heavily on the radar and those industries are doing really, really well. Our kind of mega project south of Delaware there is still moving along at warp speed. Things are going great there as well. We'll have some things coming to council pretty soon to solidify parts of that project, including the development agreement draft and some stuff out of Paris's department. So they're on track for things really kind of being finalized in February or March, right in that time frame. So hopefully we can announce some things then. We will have some announcements coming out next week for some tenants in the Sportsplex Norwalk facility next door to our Fieldhouse building. And also in Norwalk Central, there's a couple of additional retailers we'll be announcing, and then a few more tenants in the Dunn Industrial complex will be announcing next week as well. So lots of good commercial progress, and the Greg Young developments are also moving forward again. So we have a lot of commercial projects coming out of those 3 sites.
Good deal.
I guess I did have something. I have a picture that my colleagues found as the ending to the field house, right? And see if you can pick out who the dork is.
You should have sent that to me so I could throw it up on the
Wasn't
screen.
it was somebody else's post. And somehow one of my colleagues found it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so they decided to let my whole firm know that I was famous.
That's all.
We can describe that he's poking his head like this so he can be seen from the picture.
He didn't have a mustache then. Yeah.
No, I had a growing beard at that point.
Photo bomb if you're invited.
Look, I didn't even want to be up there because I was thinking to myself, I did about 0 to make this thing happen. Not just about, I did do 0. to make it happen.
P and Z. So you were. a part
I
of-
guess I did something. There you go. About, you know.
All right. What else you got, Holly?
That's it.
That's it? Chief.
Cops with carts last night went well. I knew I was cold while I was there, but then when I got home, saw the real feel -3, I realized why I was cold. We filled up 7 cars full of food and dropped them off at the food pantry. We also took in enough cash and donations to be able to write them a check for about $4,500. So they can use that money for fresh food or things that they're low on that don't come in through the donations. So all in all, I don't know how much value of food fits in a police car. But I'm gonna guess somewhere around $4,000 or $5,000 in 7 cars. So it's about a $10,000 event in 3 hours. Just thank everybody who participated in the community, our sponsors of City State Bank and Anytime Fitness, Fairway and Reeves and Associates. It's just always such a cool experience to be able to bring all that in such a short amount of time. Open up new Officer Wallace's eyes about what it was we were doing. When I told him we were going to go buy some spaghetti sauce, because that was on the list that food pantry needed. He said, well, how much are we going to buy? I said, get a cart. And when we got down there to where it was in the aisle, I gave him a couple jars. He said, well, how much are we going to get? I said, all of it. So we did. We bought every jar of Fairway spaghetti sauce on the shelf, and we pushed it out and paid for it. So we realized what the need was by being able to participate. So it's just a good event.
Cool.
That's all.
Awesome. Chief.
Yes, as Robin said, we will be delivering Santa to the tree lighting service tomorrow night. An exciting piece to that for me is that we're going to be using the fire access road that we put into that site that runs along the north side of the building. So we're putting that road to good use. If you missed it, we did have a spot on KCCI last night, along with George, talking about the Safe Haven baby box. There was another infant that was surrendered in the state this week. And so they'd reached out to us asking for an update. So we did go on camera and do a short story with that. We plan to do kind of that community drive fundraising starting the beginning of the year, as soon as we kind of finalize some of the engineering issues that we're working through. And the last thing is that Santa Day is on Saturday. So everybody get ready. He'll be coming around on the fire truck starting at 8 o'clock. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony.
Quickly here, as you all know, we'll have a new water tower in the near future in Norwalk Central. The city applied for a SRF state revolving fund loan for that project. And we've been working with the DNR, negotiating with the DNR. There's a preliminary engineering report required for that funding. And just today, the DNR approved our preliminary engineering report, and that was delayed a little bit because we've been negotiating with them. They've approved it for a 1.25 million gallon water tower. But with everything that's been going on and projecting our needs for water in the future, we want to build a little bit bigger than that. And so what that means is right now, the way it stands, what we want to do is bid alternates. So bid a couple of different sizes, what's qualified for SRF funding, and then a little bit bigger tower. What that means is if SRF only qualifies us for a 1.25 million gallon tank and we build a 1.5 million gallon tank, then we've got to finance the difference some other method. So and it's kind of a big deal because that 250,000 gallon increase in the bull size, this tower might be well over $1 million, you know. So we're trying to get SRF. So we're trying to get SRF funding for as much as we can. And in our last meetings with them, we've negotiated with them to give us some flexibility in their approval letter, because we're in the middle of a special census, and we think we can provide some information in the near future that's going to be able to allow us to increase our SRF funding on the project. So just wanted you to be aware of that. Our report's approved. We're moving forward with the design. We're going to bid a couple of alternates. Hopefully, we'll be able to, with our census information in next year, be able to get approval for a little bit bigger towers. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Luke.
Yeah, on the permit side, we had 15 residential permits in November. So that puts us to 227 in 2024. So we're at an above average year, trending towards about 240, which would end up as kind of on the higher end of permits over the last 10 years. So I think it's safe to say that we've kind of recovered from the slowdown we had the last year and a half or so. Commercial wise, we do have the permit got submitted for the Sportsplex training portion of the building. So in addition to that, we've got seven total active permits for finished spaces in that Sportsplex building. So it's good to see work being done on that to get some users in there to pair up with the fields and our field house. So that's exciting. I participated this morning in a MPO workshop on a metro-wide grant for the Safe Streets for All grant. That's from the US DOT. So it's very intro stuff. There's some interesting things from that. The DOT has this thing called Initiative Zero, I believe. It's the idea that you have 0 fatalities on roads, which seem like a crazy thing, but one of the stats they dropped on us was 45,000 fatalities last, which was the equivalent of 4 737s crashing every week. And so if we had that type of tragedy happening in our airspace, we would do a lot about it, right? And so the point being is this group, we're trying to take road safety with the same seriousness that we would take that type of event happening in other areas of transportation. So lots of things to look at, to consider, to make our roads safer. So we'll continue to work on that until we get some funds for Norwalk. It's through that. And then lastly, just wanted to circle back to North Area stuff. We talked a lot about sewer today already, but just wanted to acknowledge the big project that is and what that really means. You know, we do council puts goals together. We do planning through community development, comprehensive plans, goals, and all that stuff. At some point, that needs to become action to start making things happen. So it's really the first step in that action to start meeting those goals and meeting those plans that we put into place. And it's a big one. So just want to circle back to that and recognize what a big deal that is.
All right, thank you. George. All right, Brian.
I went up and stood with the police department last night. You cannot believe how cold that was. And I was there about 4 minutes. I don't know how long they were there, but I had water running through my eyes. It was miserable. I don't know how you got that much food. No one wanted to go to the store last night. It was so brutal. Anyway, hats off to them.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I guess this week we finished all the purchase of the ground, the 30 acres of ground down from the Duns. Along with that transaction of, you know, that includes, looping back to what Luke just said, it's all tied together because 5 acres of that is gonna be set aside for working with NRCS to relocate the easement so that the construction project that Tony let can go through the NRCS easement area. It also provides, we also in that transaction got an easement area to serve Dunn Industrial. So that ground is also, we've secured now that easement that will serve that whole area. And we also secured easements, 2 other easements across the Dunn property to the west of there that'll serve as future development on neighboring ground. Within the annexation area. So it was another event, that had to occur down there to get all the stuff done, and that we were pretty excited about getting that done. Luke Nelson was a big communicator on that because the property owner took a lot of communication, and I think Luke's got his number memorized, and he was talking to him weekends and stuff like that. So Luke was a big help on also pushing that over this finish line.
And that's a really big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Thank you. Tomorrow morning, we are meeting with Iowa Representative Samantha Fett. Hopefully she's new. Hopefully we can communicate with her a little bit about House File 718. Not forcefully, but try to get some thoughts across. Like Starbucks.
Let me see.
I think we're meeting at Starbucks. That would be fun. That would be awesome.
It's supposed to be informative here.
And then Wednesday, we're having a legislative luncheon. Warren County Chambers are, and I get to speak at that, so that should be fun. I don't know. I might have Holly write me a speech for that.
Probably a good
What's going
plan.
on? Huh?
Yeah, that's probably a good plan.
That's probably true.
That's actually a really
That's
good plan.
that's probably true.
That works on some things that are
Did it-
generic, but this information is pretty specific, so.
It is at Starbucks, and Brian, I apologize. I did not have you on that invite. I just sent it to you. Sorry about
I'm wondering if I was invited.
that. We're supposed to be.
I mean, actually, Brian, we don't want you.
Okay, now at least I know.
Sorry about that.
No,
I'm already going. Cause I wanna
All right.
have it out with Sammy Pat, so. That's, sorry, that's on,
You need to take chill pill.
I don't.
Gotcha. All right, that's all I had. Item 10 is adjournment, so I entertain the motion to adjourn. Second. All right, motion by Meineke, seconded by Baker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. We are adjourned, 7:21 PM.
Didn't make a